Hey everyone. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about some of the songs that I've written. This is all of the songs that I feel like are good enough that I would want to keep them. Yesterday, I was looking through my songwriting doc and I deleted some songs that I had written, but they felt more like situational songs that I just needed to write for a particular situation, or they were like older songs that I thought sounded good when I wrote them, but then now that I listen to them, I'm like, I feel like that's not going to stick as much. Like it's not worth it to hold on to it as a song. So, yeah, there's quite a few that I'm going to go through, and I'm not going to go through them in a particular order. So, it's not chronological order, it's not in order of my favorite or anything like that. This is just the order that they landed in on my doc. So, the first one that I'm going to talk about is called Look at Him. And this is the most recent song that I've written. And a lot of the songs, well, some of the songs that I write are literally just verses, and it's the same melody and chord progression the whole time, and there's no chorus or bridge. So you could say that it's not a real song, but there's like so many verses that the length of it basically makes it a full song. Like, I think this song is like 7 minutes long or something like that. And yeah, I just think that it's easier to come up with good lyrics when the melody and the chords are the same the whole time, so I can focus on the actual words. But yeah, this song, the story behind it was it just came from a time of prayer, and a lot of the lyrics just are like, look at blank, and then I fill in the blank with different aspects of who Jesus is, who God is, what he's done. And I think right now it's actually like my favorite real worship song that I've written, because I've written a lot of Christian songs that tend to be like, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm feeling sad, and this is how God gives me hope through it. Like, that's kind of the theme of a lot of the songs. But this one feels more like a pure worship song, because it's like, yeah, worship is that response to looking at Jesus. I think John Thurlow is someone, a worship leader, who says that a lot. So I feel like this song is the embodiment of that and really encapsulates that. So that's why I really like it. The next song is called Never Empty. It's honestly not fully completed yet, but the story behind it is I was sitting in an RCIA class, and someone was telling the story of like the widow who gave like the jar of flour and the jug of oil to Elijah when he asked for it, and that whole story of God's provision, of how like the jar didn't run out, like the jug of oil didn't go empty, and how that is kind of like a symbol for in our lives, like we don't actually go empty because of God. And so that really spoke to me, and I kind of wrote this song based on that. And then the next song is Throne Room, Ground Shakes. So Throne Room, and then there's like a subtitle in brackets. And this was really born out of like the heart and the zeal that I really wanted to come across in this song. It was inspired by a young adults worship night that I went to, and I think I just realized I wasn't looking at the camera this whole time. Um, yeah, and they were playing the worship song "What a God," and the drummer, I don't know, the drums in the room that we were in, like the drums were so loud, and they were just like rolling, and it created such like a feeling, like a sound of like being in heaven, and like the drama, like the dramaticness of just hearing like the drum beat, I guess. Um, and it made me think of how like when God speaks, it's like the ground shakes, like just that feeling of reverence and awe and wonder. So yeah, this song was written on that. And then another song is Full Access. This is another one of those songs that's just verses and the same melody the whole time. This was based on another young adults worship night that I went to where they were singing a spontaneous line. This was at Anchor Point Church, and the line was, "It is finished, it is done, you have overcome." And the whole message of that was how, we pray and like we ask God to help us overcome these battles, but it's so easy for us to forget that the battle has already been won. Like, if you imagine the thing that you're struggling with, there can be a version of you that like has already overcome that and like claiming that victory in your life because of Jesus' death on the cross. And so, based on the title, Full Access, the lyrics, I was really reflecting on, wow, like this is what the cross did. Like we have full access to Jesus. And something that I prayed was like, I'm already alive in Christ. I'm already free. I'm already dead to sin. I'm no longer a slave to sin. Where I feel like before that, a lot of my prayers were like asking to be set free, which is still valid too. But I also wanted to pray into the other side of it of like, what if like along with asking for it, I also have the faith of like, I can already live in that freedom. Like it's already available to me. Okay, the next song is called Fill the Void. And the story behind this one is funny because this was just like a month ago, and this was kind of like out of character for me, but there was one night where I just couldn't sleep. Like I was up at 2 a.m. And the reason that I couldn't sleep was like I just felt empty and like unhappy and unsatisfied to the point that I couldn't even get mentally or emotionally rested enough to physically go to sleep. And so I wrote this song based out of that feeling. And yeah, I kind of wonder if God allowed me to not be able to go to sleep so that the good that could come out of it was this song based on that theme of, the emptiness that we feel and how only God can fill it. The next song is Seven Houses and Counting. And the title is based on a true story because at the time that I wrote this song last summer, I think it was like, yeah, I had lived in 7 houses and then I was about to move again. So I wrote this song. I think it was also in one sitting. I literally like sat on the floor in my living room with my guitar because my roommate wasn't home. And I just felt inspired as I was in the middle of this process of like getting ready to pack things up and like physically moving houses, just reflecting on that feeling of like all the other moves that I had been through in my life. And I'm really proud of this song. I think it's one of my favorites that I've written. It's not a Christian song, although the very last line is He's here to stay. And so it does reference God. But yeah, I really like the melody, and I think that the lyrics they all fit and like match together really well, and they're just really honest. So yeah. Okay. So another song is Made Well. This is, I think it's the first song that I wrote that I released publicly. Like not even just as a story, but I like posted it on my Instagram account. But that was back when I had like less than 100 followers. And I still remember the very first song that I wrote when I was in high school. It was a song kind of more about mental health. And I remember posting that on like an old blog website that I had that's no longer up. But yeah, I think I deleted the lyrics to that. So I want to say that this song, Made Well, is the first song that I wrote that I still have recorded somewhere. And so it's based on the story in the Gospels where Jesus heals the man at the pool who has been sick for 38 years, and he asks, "Do you want to be made well?" And the lyrics are kind of written in the first person of like, I am that person. Like, do I want to be made well? And Jesus, like, asking me that question. And yeah, there's like, I could get into more history of it and like what it's inspired by, like particular lines, but I think that I'm not going to go super in depth to it because I have a lot more songs to cover too. Okay, another song that I want to talk about is Fiat. This, the story behind this song is interesting. It was inspired by something I heard in a talk at a retreat that I had been on, and just being in this honest place in my relationship with God of like, okay, I'm still holding back, like I still haven't fully surrendered. Like, what if I did? Because the word fiat means yes. So it's really a theme of surrender. And I had gone through a long phase of like not posting anything on my story, and then I posted a snippet of this song on my story, and people responded to it really well. So I think kind of releasing this song was like one of the first moments of me seeing like, oh, my music seems like it's actually having an impact on people. Like maybe I should keep doing this. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the story of like not just how the song was made, but also the story of like after it was made, what happened. And then the next song, Because of Him, it's a very mission focused song, and I recorded it with one of my friends, and it's up on my YouTube channel with the lyrics. And yeah, that's pretty much what it's about. But I remember this song specifically because I had posted a bunch of songs on my YouTube channel. A lot of them are private now, but out of all of them, this was the one that she was like, can I post this on my story? And so I think this song really spoke to my friend, and um, it is like a full song. Like it actually has a pre-chorus, chorus, bridge, so it feels like a very well-rounded song too. Okay, next song is Here With Me. This is a song about grieving and going through seasons of change and how Jesus stays in the middle of all of the loss. And I think I remember posting a snippet of this on TikTok once, and someone commented and said, like, needed to hear this today. And yeah, I really treasure when people's reactions are positive, not because of the praise or anything, like for myself, but more I like knowing that songs that I've written that obviously they have an impact on me, um, to hear that they resonate with other people too, just kind of affirms that there's like a goodness in putting out these songs, and there's like a want and a need for them in a way. Because some songs, I would say I write them based out of like fictional things, like, oh, if I were going through this, how would I feel? And then I write a song based on that. But I want to say that like 95% of the songs that I write them based on something that I'm currently feeling and going through in that moment. So unlike the books that I've written that I talked about in my last video that are mostly fictional, my songs are mostly based on true stories and personal experience. The next song is God of Simplicity. This is a song that hasn't really received too many reactions from other people, but I really like it. It's a song about when you feel busy and overwhelmed, and just remembering that God is a God of simplicity. Like he's not complicated. He's mysterious, but he's simple. And then there's a song called So Much to Gain. I really like this one. It's again about grieving and seasons of change. But I just like how it sounds. And then there's a song called Captives Released. I have the date here, so I wrote it in 2022. And I think the inspiration behind this song was I was reflecting on a retreat that I had been on and just kind of the imagery of like a room full of young adults during adoration and the freedom and the healing from wounds that were happening in that room during that time. So, yeah, it's based on Isaiah 61, which talks about captives being released. And yeah, it's just a song of like freedom and healing and breakthrough. So, yeah, really meaningful message behind it. And then there's another song called Already Here. This is again one of those songs that is like just verses and it's the same melody. And this really came from a season in my life where I was really struggling to be present and I kept romanticizing the future and wanting to like skip the season of life that I was in because I went through, yeah, especially in my last couple of years of university, a season of feeling like I kind of knew what was going to come up ahead and I was so excited for that. And I was like, where I am now is like so boring. Like my life, my day to day life is so mundane and not interesting, not exciting. I don't like it. And yeah, I still remember like how hard that was for me. But this song is really based on that premise of like, okay, God is already here. Why do I keep trying to run away? And kind of referencing all these times in scripture that talk about how God is in the process. So, yeah, there's that. And then there's a song called Lighthouse. This was one of those songs that I almost scrapped because it doesn't hold a lot of like personal meaning for me. It's one of those songs where I feel like the lyrics are more generic, where it's like, okay, anyone could have written this. So I like songs that are more specific and very like personal. But yeah, again, back when I had most of the songs up on my YouTube channel, I asked people like what their favorite one was, and someone said this was his favorite. So again, there's something in it that resonates with people. So I want to keep that up for anyone else that it might resonate with. It's just kind of this analogy of God being a lighthouse. And yeah, that's pretty much the message behind it. And then there's a song called Reason to Hope. It's not finished. I only have like one section of it done. But yeah, there's a Bible verse. I forget what the book or chapter is, but it talks about how Jesus is like talking about the reason for our hope, which is Jesus. And so I wrote that, I think it was in 2023 or 2024 when I was living in Ottawa, and I filmed it in a stairwell, and the security guard heard me because he was like, oh, this stairwell echoes. Like I could hear it from like, yeah, from another floor that he was on, I think. And I didn't realize that I was being that loud. I went to the stairwell because of the acoustics and I thought that it would be like an enclosed space where other people couldn't hear me because like the stairwell was empty. But yeah, so that's just kind of a funny story from when I was filming that. And then around the same time that I wrote Reason to Hope, I also wrote a song called I Want Jesus. Again, this is not a finished song. There's only like one section, but I wanted to keep it. And I filmed this in the parking garage because the security guard told me that's a place that I could go for good acoustics. And yeah, the message behind this song is really just wanting Jesus. And if saying yes to him means giving up all these other things, then my answer is yes, basically. So yeah, that theme of like giving things up for something better for Jesus. And the last song that I want to talk about is Freedom. So I wrote this in 2024. And yeah, so I guess along with the last couple songs that I mentioned, but this song was special because it came from, I think it had been like, it felt like almost a year that I hadn't been inspired to write any songs. And then this song just like came out all in one night, I think, when I was just alone in my apartment. And obviously the message of it is freedom, but the lyrics are like asking a lot of questions, and it's kind of written from the point of view. This is one of those songs that like wasn't written from personal experience, but it was me imagining what someone else, like what they'd be going through or what they would be thinking. And yeah, like for example, one of the lyrics is like, Jesus, I've heard that you heal. Is it all real? Because if this is true, then I've been looking for you. And then it's like, they tell me all these things about you. So yeah, it's like kind of it's written with pre-conversion people in mind, like what would be going through the mind of someone who has heard about Jesus from other people, but now like you're discovering Jesus for yourself for the first time, and like that childlikeness and that awe and wonder as well. So yeah, I don't know how many songs that was, definitely more than 10. And that's not even like fully every single song I've ever written in my life, but it's like the major ones. So yeah, thanks for listening.